As long as it's done by maybe Thanksgiving, I'll call it a win. You know what? As long as it's done before I start opening next year's Advents yarn. Hello, my name is Michelle and this is Michelle's Fiber Studio podcast. Today is Wednesday, July 9th, and this is episode number 56. I am in another new location yet again. I am in Woodstock, New Hampshire. My family, my extended family, is renting a house and we are here all together and I'm on the deck. It's so beautiful. I don't think I've actually done a podcast outside, so this will be kind of fun, something different. It is about 77 degrees. It's kind of muggy, cloudy, although I can see some blue sky, so the sun kind of dips in and out here. Hopefully the lighting will stay pretty decent, but it's pretty quiet. My brother and his family just left to go mini golfing. My other brother, I don't know what he's off doing. My husband is taking a nap. Everyone's kind of just chilling. So I thought I would take the opportunity where the deck is quiet to sit and film. So let's dive in. I have a finished object. I have updates to my projects. I have a new yarn acquisition on my yarn shelf. Yeah, so let's get started. Oh, actually, before I do though, I probably should talk about what I am wearing. I am wearing my Skyline Tee. I don't think I've shown you a full view of this, but this is the Skyline Tee by Tori Yu, which I just finished a couple of weeks ago. It is done in Yarn Over New York, the Times Square sock in Manhattan Henge. So without further ado, now let's go ahead and get started. So on my blocking board isn't technically on my blocking board, but it is a finished object. I just don't block it. So I did finish my yarn cozy that I was working on. This is in my leftover Manhattan Henge yarn. I had started this the Sunday that I was in New York and I finished it. I didn't make a note. It was either on July 2nd or 3rd. I can't remember if it was Wednesday or Thursday, but it is finished. I immediately put it in use for my sock, which I'll talk about in just a minute. This is what I have left. I have not weighed it, so I really have no idea how much. I'm guessing it's like 4 grams, maybe 3 or 4 grams left. So enough for, I don't know, a little something. I have my Hexie blanket project that I haven't touched. You haven't even seen because I haven't touched it in like 2 years, but I'm still collecting scraps for that. I could probably make a heel out of it on a sock if I wanted to, but that is the finished object that I have for this week. Alright, diving right into my project bag. Since I have it still sitting in my lap, let's talk about my socks, my New York socks. I have been keeping them in my Woolen Women Fibers project bag that I got. So I did finish, while I was in the city, I finished the first sock. So here it is. And I got as far as the cuff. I think that's it. I think I only got through the second cuff, but I have since been working on it. My daughter and I rented a car and we drove our way back to Maine last Saturday, and then I have been working on it here while we were in the house. And so I am just almost exactly, like you can just barely see the tip of my finger, almost ready to turn my heel. So I'm going to keep really trying to plow ahead on these. I don't want these to linger. It would be great if I can have them done, but we leave, today's Wednesday, and we leave on Friday. So I don't think that's going to happen before we leave, but sometime, maybe by the next podcast, it would be really great if I could have these done. I am using, the yarn is the Trey Liz, and it is her Aries base, which is an 85/15 Rush Merino nylon, and the colorway is Birthday Girl. I'm really liking them. I'm so glad this is the one that I chose. It was really super fun. The colors are so bright and happy, and it's really, really soft. I think these are going to be a really, really great pair of socks to wear once I get them done, and they're super fun. The pooling is kind of interesting. Can you see how this yellow is pooling in here? I don't know if it's showing on the camera, but it's got a little bit down here in the foot too. But that's okay. They're just super, super fun. So, and maybe I will also make a yarn cozy out of this one. I'm kind of enjoying that thought where I make a project out of yarn that I buy in New York and then make yarn cozies with some of the leftovers. So that is project number 1. Project number 2, I'm gonna move very carefully because I just had to pick up some stitches that I had dropped. And it is my Bay Day tank, which is by Briana Luppino of the Little Wolf Knits. And I have a lot done. I'm a lot further. Trying to get all kind of like twisty. So when I podcasted last time, I had just finished the back. So I have since done the entire front, and I just joined, and I'm actually, you can see I have 2 yarns hanging off. I'm in the process of fading 2 different yarns in to start the 3rd color. So I have, this is my color, that's my 3rd color, and my 2nd color is in here. I got, yeah, just a little teeny bit left. So another maybe 2 rounds I'll do on this one and then cut it off. And then I think what I'm going to do is put it on, try it on tubing and try it and make sure that it is fitting. I haven't really done any kind of measuring or size check at all because it really hasn't been in a position where I've been able to do that. I am finding the yarn a little bit splitty, I will say that. And it's a little airy. I think it's gonna be okay. You can kind of see maybe on the back. But it blocked, like when I did my swatch, I was happy with my swatch. So we're gonna try it and we're gonna see what it's like. And then kind of go from there. But I'm gonna finish kind of fading those and give it a try and see where we land. So I'm using, this is the bag that I got at Fiber Frolic from, I can see her face. It's not Hedgehog Fibers because that's what this yarn is. I can't remember. I can't remember the name. I don't think she has the name on her bag either. Anywhere. So, at any rate, I believe I linked it in my Fiber Frolic video if you want to go check it out. So, because it is escaping me right now. So that is the 2nd project. The next project I will talk about is my Bahama Advent Wrap by Toni Lipsey. I did some work on it while I was in New York. I haven't touched it since I left the city. But it is a little further along than when I podcasted last. And of course, it's been a week and a half too, because I podcasted on Monday last week. So, where's my... Yeah. So, all the way down there. So, I have moved into a new color. This is the color I'm working on. I think it's color number 5. And then I'm really excited for the next one. This is going to be super pretty. That is the next color that I will be doing afterwards. So it is coming along, picking at it away little by little. That's okay. It never seems to be the project that I want to really be focusing on. It's just kind of this little side project. So it's probably one I'm just going to keep picking away at, and you know, as long as I'm not going to wear this until fall, winter, or late fall, early winter. So as long as it's done by maybe Thanksgiving, I'll call it a win. You know what? As long as it's done before I start opening next year's Advent yarns, which, by the way, I did order my Advent for this Christmas. I ordered another Fangirl Fibers Advents. She is doing a Little Mermaid Advent. I had the option of getting either tonal or variegated, or I don't know, variegated is, yeah, I think that's what she called it, but it's basically, my assumption is colors like this where it's multicolored. So I went with the more variegated. So that's the advent that I'm going to be getting. It should be fun. I'm actually kind of on the lookout, and if I stumble across a fiber advent, I will be hard pressed to say no. I really am kind of jonesing to maybe get one of those as well. So that is that project. I did not end up bringing my Knit It Down sweater. I just didn't feel like it. And it was a really fast turnaround when I got home over the weekend. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But I opted to essentially keep just the projects that I had had with me in the city, and I grabbed a little extra fiber, which I am not going to get to spinning, so I probably didn't even need to bring that. But that is okay. We're in a car, so it wasn't hard to just grab and add to the stash of things that I was bringing along with me. But that does bring me to my last project. Oh, I didn't bring it out here. Let me go grab it. All right, on my spinning project, I did finish my bobbin. This is the first ply of my second skein of yarn, and it is the last of the red fiber. And now I am working my way through the BFL, and that is what I have done on that one. I have, if I can hold this up without breaking it off, there we go. So I have like this much fiber left to go. So this would be one day's worth of work if I can sit down and just do it. I haven't done my spinning yet for today, so maybe when I'm done, that's what I'll work on. Actually, maybe I'll work on that while I'm editing this video. It is Tour de Fleece. Tour de Fleece began on Saturday, and that is a spinning thing where the challenge is to spin along with the Tour de France cycling race that is going on right now in France. And you just spin every day. You set whatever goals that you want for yourself. I am just trying to spin every single day, which in and of itself is going to be a goal. Although it is summertime, but I haven't done any regular spinning in years and years and years. So to me, that felt like a worthy goal. I would love to finish this sweater project. So finish this batch of fiber, get it all plied up, and then the other 2 batches and ply those up. And if I can do that, then I have, which is the other fiber that I brought with me, that I want to spin in a fractal that I had bought at the Fiber Frolic in June. So those are kind of my Tour de Fleece goals. I'm not on any official teams. I think on the Electric Eel board on Ravelry, I have commented a couple of times, but I'm not really officially participating. I'm probably not going to worry about submitting in any kind of way to be drawn for any prizes in any different forums. It's just more for my own satisfaction. I've never actually participated in the Tour de Fleece, even when I was spinning on the regular. So I thought it would be kind of a fun little challenge, especially with my new Electric Eel, to give that a try. So that is what I have project-wise today. So I think we can move on to my yarn shelf. My July Yarnables arrived. Actually, it arrived while I was in New York, and then I just grabbed it with me and I opened it up here when I got here. So let's go ahead and take a look. I probably should have taken it out of this plastic. I apologize. All right, the theme for this month is saltwater taffy. So let's take a look at the extras first. First of all, I will show you, I got this fun little soda can cozy. It is by Oak Shore Collective, and I immediately opened it up and started using it. This is my Polar, actually it's the no-name brand that I got here in New Hampshire, but my Polar works great. Then we also got this little lip balm, which is super cute. Cap Zone is the vendor, and it is Strawberry Lip Gloss, or Lip Balm. It's a berry sweet nod to boardwalk days. Juicy, glossy, and smooth as a summer's kiss. Oh, let's try it. That is very nice. I actually really like that. Wow. I'm gonna have to keep that right by my knitting stuff. And then the last thing is by Snifty, and it's a set of 7 pencils, and they are Adulting is Hard. And so they have some really fun, I don't mind getting older, but my body is taking it badly. Oh, I liked this one. Too old for Snapchat, too young for Life Alert. That one really made me laugh. Being an adult is mostly just Googling symptoms. You know you're old when happy hour is a nap. I can relate to that one. Another fine day ruined by responsibility. Anyway, they're kind of fun. I will probably bring these to school when school starts again, but for now, they just made me laugh, so. All right, let's take a look at the yarn, shall we? Again, it is Saltwater Taffy. Look how pretty. So there's their logo. There is the label. And it's really soft, pinky purple, and just a hint of peach, I think. Really, really pretty. So I have no idea what it will be. It will go into my stash until it tells me what it wants to be. But that is my Yarnables yarn. I happen to know that my Woolen Woman fiber box is waiting for me when I get back home. So I will have that to share with you next week. Oh, finally in this week's day-to-day, I have a ton to tell you because, of course, when I podcasted last week, I had basically just got to New York City. So this is really all about my New York City trip. Tuesday, we went out, we did some shopping. One of my favorite places to go in New York City is Uniqlo. It's a line of, it's mostly athletic wear, but they have lots of other things too, actually. It's not just athletic wear, but that seems to be what I tend to go towards. I have a sweatshirt I got from like 3 years ago that I absolutely adore. It is lightweight, but it's a perfect layering piece. I've gotten multiple things there. My husband actually has done really well there too. And I was looking for some athletic shorts to wear when I do my workouts, so I found some shorts. And then last winter I had checked when we went at Christmas time and I was looking for some athletic pants and I didn't find anything that I liked, but then I happened to stumble across athletic pants. So I got 2 pairs of that too. So I really cleaned up there. And then we went and checked out the Morgan House Library, which is kind of a museum. It is J.P. Morgan, yes, the J.P. Morgan in his house in New York City. And I do have some video. I might be able to pull a picture or two. I continue to take videos to make a vlog. I will probably do a combined New York, New Hampshire vlog. So you can look for that at some point in the next couple of weeks. But what an incredible house. They're just part of the house that is still preserved that you can go in, and it would be his library and his study, and like the entryway is what you can see. And then it also, they showcase some of his personal collection of paintings and art that he collected. So that was kind of cool. It was $25, I want to say, and I don't know that I would say it was $25 cool, but it's one of those things that I'm not sorry I did it either. Like, would I pay to go again? Probably not. If I had free tickets, would I go? Sure. But it's one of those kind of, would I encourage somebody to spend the money on it? I don't know. Tough call. Then we did my favorite Japanese barbecue restaurant, Gyokaku, and we went, my daughter's fiance met us there for an early dinner, and we had dinner, and then from there my daughter and I went to Aladdin, and oh my word, it was so good. We had front row seats. I sprung for front row seats, and I did mean that I was kind of doing this. Well, okay, not quite that high, but we were looking like up at the stage, and you couldn't see like the stage floor. So there was, I think, one scene where somebody was laying on the stage and it was a little hard to see them because we were just down just a little bit. But as a short person, it was fantastic that I didn't have to spend the whole show like dodging whoever was in front of me. And the band the orchestra was in the pit just in front of us, but down below. But the conductor was like 2 seats over from me. They literally could have reached out and patted his shoulder. Like he was directly in front. So I was like that with the conductor. It was super cool. They did a fantastic job. It is high energy. Like some of the numbers, the Aladdin character, I don't think he stops moving. You could see the sweat dripping. Of course, I was in the front row. You could see how hot and sweaty he was after like song number 2 or halfway through song number 1. Like it was insane. The costumes were absolutely gorgeous. And there was like 2 or 3 numbers where there were like 2 or 3 costume changes within the numbers. Like the male ensemble would come out and be doing part of it, and then they would go out back and the female part of the ensemble would come out, and then they would switch and the men would have swapped costumes and the ladies would come back out. They would be in different costumes. Like 2 or 3 times that happened, like twice in the show. It was just incredible. The casting was really great. The music, the dancing, like all of it. It was just phenomenal. So that was really great. On Wednesday, so our mornings, I will say at this point, were very slow. I don't think we left the house before 10 o'clock on any given day, and there was a couple of days where we didn't leave until almost 11. It was amazing. Let me just tell you, it was amazing. I'm not a morning person, so that totally suited me fine. But we went and had lunch at a restaurant called Ruby Rosa, which serves gluten-free pizza. So my daughter, who's gluten-free, we were able to have pizza. So that was really cool. And then she and I had tickets to the Tenement Museum. And there is a building that they own that was tenements, which is basically apartments, another word for apartment. But there's like 4 or 5 different tours that you would select, and then they take you in and they show you a couple of the different units, and they talk about the families who actually lived there. So the 2 units that we saw, it was a Russian Jewish family and then an Italian family, all right around the turn of the century, right around the early 1900s into the 1920s, who lived side by side. And it was just kind of some of what we found out about them. I would think it's the Italian family still has grandchildren of the kids who lived in the apartment, I believe, is the connection. So they were able to share, and it might have even been some of their kids, like the parents, that in-between generation. When the Tenement Museum first acquired this building, that they were able to share some of these details. So they know for facts some of these things. So it was super, super cool. And then when we left there, we went and had some tea at a little tea shop. I don't think I grabbed any video or pictures of that, but it was so cute. It was a little teapot. We each got our own little teapot and had it was like a little mini tea party, just my daughter and I. So that was on Wednesday. Thursday, we took the train out to Brooklyn, or the subway out to Brooklyn, and we visited 2 different yarn shops. We went to Woolen and we went to Brooklyn General Store, and I did get something from each of them. Unfortunately, I don't have those with me, so I will share those next week in my podcast. But that was kind of cool. I do have some video of the outside of the stores, but I don't know, it just feels funny asking if I can take videos. I'm not comfortable with that, so I didn't, and that's fine. They're both very different. Woolen is a little bit small. It's definitely the smaller of the 2, but it is definitely more yarn focused or fiber focused. They had some spinning fiber, they had weaving, they had needle, felting, and of course knitting and crochet. It was strictly fiber. Brooklyn General, and it was much more indie dyed yarns. So at Woolen, I picked up the sock yarn that I will plan to knit the next time I go visit in New York City. At Brooklyn General Store, they are a more general store in that they had a ton of yarn, but it seemed to be more name brand yarn. And they also had a whole lot of fabric and notions and sewing. Like it was kind of evenly split between sewing and fiber. But then as far as the fiber goes, if you're not a knitter or a crocheter, you're out of luck. Kind of like that kind of a deal, maybe embroidery, but they didn't really diverge from kind of those main facets. I did get a sweater's quantity of yarn from them though, a really beautiful like oatmeal color. So I do have that. I think it's a cotton alpaca, I believe, cotton alpaca blend. It was so soft, so pretty. So I'll show you that next week. And then we had some lunch, and then we went to the Transit Museum, which is also based in Brooklyn. And it is down, it's like going down into an old subway station. It is an old subway station. And on the top level of the subway station, they have like a history of the subway when it was built starting in 1900 and all that entailed. And then you go down to the second floor, and they actually, on the tracks themselves, have old train cars from going back to like the original train cars in the early 1900s all the way across to current. So that was, I didn't take any video of that. We were tired. It was a little bit warm, and it was a lot warm outside. It was like 85, 88 degrees, and it was very stale air in the Transit Museum. So we just we were enjoying it, but yeah, I didn't take any video. But it was really cool to see, and they had a lot of like the old advertisements in the subway cars too, so you could see like some of the ads. It was super cool. I wished I had gotten out of my own way and taken more video. Alright, my camera shut down. It's not even that hot out here. It's muggy, but I didn't think it was that hot. So anyway, I believe I was finishing my conversation about the Transit Museum, which was super cool. That's basically the end of that. On Friday, which was the 4th of July, we spent the morning in Central Park with my daughter, and of course her fiance had the day off, and then his parents joined us, and so we spent a couple hours in Central Park. That was a lot of fun. Went back to their apartment, and then in the evening for about dinner, 6 o'clock or so, his parents and his brother came over, and we enjoyed a meal together, which was awesome. My daughter's fiance made ribs and wings, I think, and then his mom brought some sauteed, oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. Tofu, and like a shredded potato of some kind, but it was cold. And there was cucumbers, and I don't remember what the other thing was in there. And we enjoyed a meal together. We did not go out to the fireworks because they were pretty far down on the bottom of Manhattan. And my daughter's fiance said we would have had to have staked out a spot like at lunchtime, and we decided that wasn't worth it. So we did not do that. Instead, we ended up spending a quiet evening at home. I think we might have played a game that night. We did games like off and on all week long, which was a lot of fun. Saturday the morning was really, really quiet. And then around lunchtime, 1 o'clock or so, my daughter and I headed out to go pick up our car. They tried to put us in a little pickup truck, and we're like, okay, I don't know that we want to drive a pickup. And then they pulled it up, and it did have a second row where we could have I don't want to say stashed the dog, but put the dog, because her dog was coming with us. But we would not have had enough room for all the rest of our stuff, our luggage and the dog's supplies and all of that. And the cab, or the bed, was open. It was open. So we would have had to have strapped it down for a 6-hour drive. And we're like, that's really not going to work. Do you possibly have anything else? And they're like, well, if you don't mind waiting. And we're like, yeah, we'll wait a little bit. And then lo and behold, about 10 minutes later, they managed to find us something different, a sedan. I don't remember what make and model it was, but it was a sedan. And that was way better. So we got a little bit later of a start than we had hoped, but we headed out, and halfway through we swapped as drivers, and then we got to Portland to drop off the car at 8:30, I want to say. And then by the time that was taken care of and we made it back to my house, it was like 9:15, and then I had to do a really quick flip of my things, brought my suitcase in and unpacked some of, I had done a little load of laundry at her house, so I was able to mostly leave it packed and just kind of swap out the few things that I wanted to swap out. I knew I didn't really want any shorts and wouldn't need them for this week because it was going to be cooler. Although it's been in the high 70s and it's been very muggy inside, we've had air conditioning running, and so I've actually been wearing pants all week. And yeah, and then Sunday morning we went to church, came home, finished our packing, and headed here to New Hampshire. We got here right around 4 o'clock when the house became available to us. We got ourselves kind of situated and then went and did a big old grocery shop. About 15 or so minutes. Lincoln is down the road with a Price Chopper. It's not a very big one, but it was adequate. And we were able to get up a whole bunch of groceries so we could kind of do our mutual eating, cooking, whatever. And it's been, the rest of this week has really just been a whole bunch of relaxing. We've done a lot of game playing. I've done a bunch of knitting and reading and chilling, and it's just been really quite lovely. We have all day tomorrow, and then we have to be out by 10 o'clock on Friday. So our week is really nearly coming to an end, but it's been delightful. So that is pretty much what I have for you today. I thank you so very much for joining me. If you have enjoyed this podcast, please do hit the like button and hit the little, I think it's a bell, to subscribe so you can see when I post new content. I will have links down below in the show notes for all of the things that I have talked about. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Knittin Michelle, KNITTINMICHELLE. You can also send me an email at michellesfiberstudio@gmail.com. I think that about does it. So with that, I hope you have a fantastic week and happy knitting.